Good morning. My name is Carl Sonnen. I'm the Secretary on the FirstU Board of Directors. There'll be three people doing announcements today, myself, and then I'll call on Brent Nicole to talk about the pledge campaign, followed by Catherine Pope, who will talk about the Fall Fair, which is next week. There will be an after-service conversation following the service today. So if you're interested in having an engaging discussion about the themes and learnings from today's service, grab some food in Fellowship Hall and then head to the lounge. Coffee will be available. During November, the Environmental Action Group will focus on action to ban the advertising of fossil fuels, both nationally and locally. Find out more on the Climate Action page. Federally, Bill C-372, the Fossil Fuel Advertising Act, is a private member's bill and is scheduled for second reading in Parliament on November 22nd. Sign the petition calling on MPs to pass this bill, which will substantially improve our health and that of our planet. Locally, take action on Horizon Ottawa's petition to keep fossil fuel advertising out of City of Ottawa facilities. Mark your calendars for 2 weeks from today on Sunday, November 24th at 1 p.m. here in Worship Hall, when FirstU's three choirs will present Songs for a Long Night. Entrance will be by donation. Join the choirs for a concert of songs of warmth and light as we welcome winter. The music will range from classical pieces to Paul McCartney, to Susan Gluckark, to jazz and folk standards. Childcare will be provided. And now I'd like to introduce Brent Nicole, who will provide an update on the Pledge and Health Self-Help and the Help Staff Help Us campaigns.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, I'm Brent, and here's a brief interim pledge report while Phil is away. He said, "Make it lively, Brent." The pledge campaign takes a lot of commitment from many people. For our big financial target, we are at 83%, which is wonderful, but we still have another $57,000 of pledges to raise. And if you hadn't been paying attention, we are tackling a large deficit by reducing the number of staff hours next year. But we can keep those staff hour reductions modest if we can successfully hit our Help Staff Help Us target on top of our usual pledge. We are 70% of the way toward that pledge with another $7,000 to go. If you made your pledge early, we hope you can increase your pledge for this year to Help Staff Help Us. There's an easy web form available in the EUU. The pledge calling team is currently reaching out to another 68 people for their pledge. We know that this week, Fall Fair Week, is a very busy time for many of us, but it's also a good time for casual conversations between volunteers, perhaps about pledges, and for people to bring a paper form into the pledge box in the photocopy room. Right now it's at the back of Worship Hall. It'll be in the photocopy room during the week. This year's pledge team is Phil, Michelle, Chuck, Amy, Maury, and myself. We are happy to answer any in-person questions you may have, or you can always email pledge@firstunitarianottawa.ca to reach Phil and Michelle. Thank you all for your shared commitment to FirstU. And now here's Catherine Pope to speak more about the Fall Fair. Catherine.
Thanks, Brent. Good morning. My name is Catherine Pope. I'm the Fall Fair Director, and we are only 6 days away from the Fall Fair. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yay! Myself and the coordinators and conveners are excited about FirstU's biggest fundraiser next Saturday, November 16th, from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. We encourage you to bring donations from Monday to Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. We will not be accepting donations after Thursday, and that's because we need to get everything ready for the big day. Please spread the word about Fall Fair with your friends and neighbors and relatives. Most volunteer positions are filled, but we could always use help doing things like making sure that our volunteers have coffee and snacks available on the Fall Fair day. We could also use more help with cleanup day, cleanup on the day of the sale, rather, and with dispersal of unsold goods. And of course, we often have last-minute vacancies of volunteer positions. Please contact Eva Behringer if you can help. Now, this year, the financial results will be announced later than usual due to changes in our financial process. And finally, the building will be transformed. As you know, this will be very different next week. The building will be transformed for the Fall Fair, so at the end of this service, please take the gray and teal hymnals that are in front of you to the main office through that door over there. I look forward to seeing you at the Fall Fair. Woo!
Good morning. For our sing-along prelude this morning, we're changing things up, and I think you'll understand why. This song I want to tell you a little bit about before we sing it. It's called We Rise by Batya Levine, and they wrote this song after the 2016 election, American election. And a few words that they have to say about this experience of writing the song. I felt a profound sense of hopelessness, and I needed to believe that collective power and resistance was possible in the face of such great unknown. I reached inward for a shred of hope, and what I found was the powerful and prayerful resistance that I had witnessed and experienced at Standing Rock. They protested there. And in that moment, I started to sing. I'll skip some of this. It's all very good, but in this time when white supremacy and fascism are so clearly lifting their heads, may we truly center the resistance and vision of Black folks, Indigenous and Native peoples, communities of color, immigrants, refugees. May we believe in our collective power and resilience and learn to live it as we work to dismantle the oppressive forces within ourselves and in the world around us. No matter what struggles lie ahead, may we keep fighting and rising for and with each other. So it's a really wonderful piece. Do you want to switch to the next slide, Julia? Thank you so much. The chorus, there we go. I'll give you the chorus first, which is the in hope, in prayer part. So it sounds like I'll maybe sing a line, you can sing a line back. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. My turn. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. Let's sing the whole thing together. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. And that's it. That's the whole chorus. The other part I'm going to review with you is rise. So every time we sing the word rise, it's sung 4 times. The first 3 times it sounds like rise, just like that. Rise, yeah. And then again, rise. And then 1 third time, rise. And then the last time, rise. So it goes up the last time, like we're rising, right? And then there'll be other words in there. So, rise, then there'll be some other words. Rise, then some more words, that sort of thing. You can feel free to join in on the other words if you'd like, or, you can just let me do them and just focus on rise, which is also great. So, let's go. So, we rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise, with spirit to guide us, rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. We rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. We rise up from the wreckage, rise with tears and with courage, rise fighting for life, we rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. We rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise, with Spirit to guide us, rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And as a wise rabbi once said, the rest is commentary. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everyone to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa, whether you are here with us in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be. You are welcome, especially on this Remembrance Day weekend. I'm the Reverend Eric, the congregation's lead pastor.
And I'm Lee, your worship associate for this morning. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin Anishinaabeg territory, and that the work of reconciliation is the responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those who have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and advocate for justice. Let's join our voices in song once more. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together Comfort Me, number 1002 in our teal hymnal. The lyrics will also be on the screen above.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me,
As health challenges continue, do take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch. If you are new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. And if you're right here in Worship Hall with us this morning and would like more information about FirstU, it's available at the welcome table at the back of the pews. We encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Sign-up information is available on our website under the Communications tab and as a QR code on the back of our printed programs. Check out Facebook and Instagram pages and our website for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever, though some of our activities take place online. This morning, each of us is welcome. We of any heritage or faith, whatever our burdens, of any culture or race, of any gender or orientation, in any body, all that we are. Today, we are all part of this spiritual community.
Thank you, Lee. To begin this morning's reflection on the political winds of change from south of our border, we light our chalice this morning to these words of welcome from Walter Royal Jones. As we kindle the flaming chalice of our worship, let us quietly remember the hard-won heritage of freedom. Let us recall the many moments of light and shadow in our lives, and let us be ready to share our strength with one another whenever and as often as needed. Let us now, as we begin our time of worship, which is probably going to go a little long, I just want to name that. Most of us are adults in this room. If you need to leave at a certain time, feel free. We're going to take the time we need this morning. And we'll start with our chalice song. Jen?
Chalice, chalice, burning bright, help remind us with your light of how we'd like to live each day, with love and truth helping lead the way.
Jody's got some friends with her. That can only mean one thing.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jody McIntosh, and I have a story for you this morning. And I have Reverend Eric, Carl, Lee, and Susan who's going to help me tell it, and I have Rita up here helping me with the book. So our story this morning is called The President of the Jungle, and it's by Andre Rodriguez. Lion wanted a swimming pool. So, because he was king of the jungle, he rerouted the river to flow into his front yard. Now, he had a pool. The other animals were not happy. They missed their river. Lion had gone too far. Maybe he should not be king of the jungle.
What if we had a new leader?
We have no water. My children are thirsty.
Let's protest.
Lion thinks only of himself.
It's ridiculous.
The animals decided to have a demonstration. They marched to Lion's swimming pool to protest.
Hashtag Occupy the Jungle.
Water is for everyone.
Give back our river.
This king needs to go.
But Lion couldn't care less what they thought. So the animals decided it was time for a new leader.
No more kings.
Let's be a democracy. Let's hold an election.
What's an election?
In an election, anyone who wants to be the leader can become a candidate and put together a campaign. Each animal gets to vote for the leader. The candidate who gets the most votes becomes president. Well, sometimes that happens. Everyone liked the idea, so they drew up the rules for the election. Rules for the election. Rule 1, we will hold an election every spring. Rule 2, any animal can be candidate. 3, each animal gets a vote. 1 vote. 4, votes are secret. 5, the candidate with the most votes wins. 6, candidates cannot trade gifts for votes. 7, candidates cannot eat their opponents. Monkey, sloth, and snake were excited to become candidates. Lion didn't want to be left out, so became a candidate too. Then the campaigns began.
That lion has some nerve.
I'm Lion, my beloved subjects. I descend from a long line of kings. It was my cherished great-great-grandfather who expelled the smelly possums so the rest of us could live in peace. I provided jobs to the animals who diverted the water from the river to build my swimming pool. If something is not broken, do not fix it. Vote for Lion for tradition.
It's time for Lion to go. The king is sneaky and is as slippery as a rotten banana peel. He said we could all swim in his pool, and now we can't. Under my leadership, everything will be different, and we will build burrows and homes for everyone. No more lies. Monkey for president.
Snake. I am a popular snake. I grew up in the jungle with all of you. I've crawled through burrows and nests getting to know you. We have faced the great drought together, and we have survived fires and hunters. You know I will be there for you, so vote for Snake.
My fellow animals, it is time to plan our future together. I want to hear from all of you. And please don't judge me by my name. I am not lazy. I don't rush, because good government does not happen overnight. With patience, we will make the jungle better for everyone. Vote sloth.
Each candidate got busy trying to convince the voters why they would be the best leader. They went on TV, they took selfies with voters, they handed out pamphlets and discussed the issues. They held rallies. Oh boy, did they ever hold rallies. Some said wild things about the other candidates. They put up posters and discussed more issues. Finally, election day arrived, and the animals lined up to cast their secret votes in the ballot box. Owl was in charge of counting the votes. Unfortunately, Lion got disqualified for violating rule number 6. He had been giving voters peanuts so that they would choose him. When the votes were added up, the new president was announced. It was Sloth. The animals all gathered to hear Sloth's victory speech. In this election, I learned so much from everybody. I just realized this is Sloth. Here you go, Sloth. Can you read that for me?
In this election, I learned so much from everybody. We each have something to say, and we all should listen. Lion wants to be recognized for all his work. Monkey wants us to have food and shelter. Snake and I agree we are stronger when we work together. The first thing I will do as president is create a team to help us make the jungle a great place for every animal.
Thank you, Sloth. And that is the story of how Sloth became the jungle's first president. Of course, not everyone was happy with the election results, so it was a good thing that there would be another election next year. The end. Thank you so much for listening to my story. We will now sing the children on their way.
Beneath our arms we shelter you. You warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guide you as you go, to help you learn and help you grow.
You know, in the first congregation I served, they asked, why do we have a children's story every week? And I told them the truth. It was to get beneath your defense mechanisms. You guys don't have that problem. Thank you. Each week we pause in our time together in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our lives and across the globe. We honor our celebrations and challenges by placing stones in small bowls of water. As the ripples extend outward, we imagine them continuing out beyond the bowls, out through and past our pews, out into the larger community of all. A stone, our first stone today for Remembrance Day. Without memory, meaning is lost. We live our lives as we do for those who put themselves in harm's way to defend what we might do and become. We can only begin to express our gratitude. In our community, a stone for Ron. We hope Ron is moving to rehab and then home to his Francis soon. A stone for Matilda. We are thinking of you and wishing you well with your treatments. And a stone for Sue. We're thinking of you as well and hoping your recovery continues to go well. We look forward to seeing you soon. And in the wider Canadian landscape, a stone for Murray St. Clair, a paragon of decency, patience, tenacity, and courage. Please come forward now to honor any joys or sorrows or challenges you are living with by placing a stone in a bowl of water. That last stone, as always, represents all that still remains in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. Caring cards for Ron, Matilda, and Sue are at the back of the hall for us to sign at our caring table. Stan is there. Stan is waving. Even if you don't yet know these dear people, putting your name on a card to them is a way for us to extend our appreciation and care on behalf of those who have given so much to this vital community. Let us move now into a time of stillness and reflection. After several moments, we'll come back again through the gift of music.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
This morning's reading are words from Dave Pell, written on the 6th of November, 2024. In the still dark hours of the morning, as I curled up in the fetal position, listening to the sound of my heart pounding in my pillow, Rye, one of my beagles, stumbled off the bed, gagged a couple of times, and threw up on the carpet. After a brief pause, he consumed what he'd just coughed up. Unbeknownst to him, Rye had manifested the perfect metaphor for this moment in American history. When voters, for some reason I'll never understand, took the opportunity to re-elect a person that 154 presidential scholars from across the political spectrum unanimously agreed was the worst president in American history. And that was before the indictments, the convictions, and the Supreme Court ruling that presidents deserve near total immunity. It turns out we are going back. So yes, this was a bad morning, really bad. It's taking everything I've got now to not puke on the carpet myself right now. When my mom was 10 years old, she had a much worse morning. She was jarred awake by the sound of breaking glass on the ground floor of her family's apartment. She lived through Kristallnacht, survived the Holocaust, moved to America, and has developed and funded college-level courses to help people better understand the root cause of hate and genocide. This week, my family is taking my mom out for her 96th birthday. I'm convinced that one of the reasons America and other democracies are so susceptible to fascism is because those who've experienced it firsthand are fewer and fewer in number. But we won't talk about that at birthday dinner. We'll remind ourselves of the really important things in life, and I imagine there will be a fair share of dark humor. And when the election comes up, I'm guessing my mom will say the same thing she always says at moments like this. We shall overcome. She means it. She's proved it.
Well, they are getting reassembled, reseated, whatever the word may be. I want to share with you a little, very short interaction I had with one of the members here. First thing this morning, no, Siri, I don't need anything. We'll see. They said they had looked at the program and said, Eric, one step forward, I get it. You're thinking about the 2 steps back, but what's the 1 step forward? I didn't and don't have an answer to that. Well, I'm certainly feeling 2 steps back this morning. For right now, that 1 step forward is aspirational. I know it will come in time. So perhaps a more fitting title for this morning would be 2 steps back, where and how do we go from here? A couple little stories to frame at least my perception. Several years ago, a colleague of mine, Reverend Karen Anderson, relayed a coffee hour conversation she had with one of her members who happened to serve on the local school board. The member had been watching Reverend Karen interact with several other members and was impressed by Reverend Karen's skill in the craft of what I like to call rhetorical dance. She said to my colleague, I'm on the school board, but I've never realized until now that you have to be more of a politician than I do. Now, serving this congregation in this country's capital, I've thought about that little incident, that understanding of ministers of having to be political in what we say and do. I've thought about that often since arriving with you 3.5 years ago now. This morning, I'm going to offer some reflections on the political realities south of the border, but I am not going to do so in a political manner. I'm going to call it like I see it. You may certainly have a different understanding and disagree with some of the things that I say, or all of what I say. My hope is simply to foster a fuller conversation in which all of us can grow and learn. In every Unitarian Universalist minister's letter of agreement with the congregation they serve, there is the phrase, freedom of the pulpit, which means that I can say what I feel to be true, even if I know or expect it's going to ruffle some feathers. But I've learned that it has to be done with respect for the pews. Please know that I respect you. I hope you will feel that. Earlier this week, as the radio and media announcers were beginning to ask questions and make sense of the re-election of Donald John Trump, I heard Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland say that Canada would be just fine during a second Trump presidency. I absolutely hope that that will prove true, but I have my doubts. Frankly, I'm concerned. And to help frame some of my concerns, I need to go back 15 to 20 years, actually, to a conversation that took place between a man named Jesse and I over 2.5 years. Jesse had seen something on the local paper and wrote to the congregation I then served. He had seen the name of a junior high teacher of his, and she was recognized as being a member of the First Unitarian Universalist Church in Livermore, the congregation I served. It was my first professional ministry. Jesse was writing from New Folsom, which is a new constructed prison beside old Folsom Prison outside of Folsom, California. Some of you may know Johnny Cash recorded a concert there. It's a fabulous album. And I think he made several concerts there, giving back to the inmates. Over 2.5 years, Jesse and I exchanged many letters. I sent him books, and I went to visit him once. He was not always an ideal prisoner. The first thing that I learned was that when you don't have anything else, you hold on to your pride with as much force as you can muster. And that helped hold Jesse together, but it did not endear him to the prison officials. When I met him, he was in solitary confinement, and our conversation, while other inmates were having conversations in a more open area, our conversation included him with shackles behind his back and a glass that must have been this thick. Two things Jesse said to me have stayed with me to this day, and I expect will for a long time to come. The first, he said, is that during wartime, there are more fights in prison. That the anxiety in the world affects us, and it certainly affects prisoners, and their violence comes out even more often. And the second thing Jesse said was more challenging. I could accept the first easily. The second thing he said is, Eric, I'm a black man, and the only way people like me get people like your attention is through acts of violence. You don't pay attention to us at any other time. I wanted to disagree, but I had to realize that I responded because I knew he was an inmate, which means he probably did something pretty bad, and he didn't deny that he had. And I think of that in terms of my sense that many of the people who voted for Trump south of the border did so because they didn't feel heard and they felt disrespected by the party in control. I've read a lot of commentary on how the elites blew this election. And while I'd like to distance myself from those elites, as a white, upper middle class kid with a darn good education, I can't make that distinction. I'm there. Frankly, I've worked hard to have the influence that I do. I want to be one of those elites. But I also need to be in relationship with people with very different experiences and life stories. Those letters to Jesse helped make me the person I longed and still want to be. I, frankly, until the night before the election, I didn't lose any sleep about it. I thought that the women in the United States of America, taking the experience of Trump's judges dismantling Roe v. Wade, would have said, nope, we'll tell the pollsters one thing, but we're going to vote in a different way. There was a lovely ad put out by the Never Trump group, the Lincoln Project, called The Secret, where husbands and wives went to the ballot box. Some of you may have seen this. If not, look for it. It's really short and wonderful. And the women are there at the ballot box, and they are looking at one another and smiling. And they are going to cast their votes for who they want, and it's probably not who their husbands are going to vote for. That didn't happen. And so on Wednesday morning, I coined a new phrase. I realized that there was more of what I can only call internalized misogyny than I would ever care to admit. I hate that phrase, but I think it is a part of what we saw this last week. I'm scared. I want to have Josiah Barnwell's hope. I think it's going to take me a while to get there. I think of my stepson, who is a black man in his late 30s in North Carolina, an auto mechanic whose body won't let him do that work anymore, so he's been taking for the last several years IT classes at night. I worry about my stepdaughter, who is doing very well in a podiatry, means a foot doctor clinic. She's a foot doctor surgeon. And I worry about her clients, people of color with diabetes primarily. I worry how much we'll see Margaret Atwood's fictional Handmaid's Tale story come closer to life. And I also think back to the Universalist P.T. Barnum of Barnum and Bailey Brothers circus fame, who said, and at least in the States, this is a very well-known phrase, there's a fool born every minute. You know that? What did he say right after that? Does anyone know? And two to take him, meaning there's one fool and two jerks who's going to take advantage of the guy. And in the States, we often call the president the commander-in-chief. You may hear me in the future use the phrase grifter-in-chief for Donald Trump. You may also hear me say the phrase Putin's puppet or Putin's pawn. I hope that is complete hyperbole. I hope I'll never have reason to say those words again. I want to read, and I know we're long, and I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to read an excerpt from a Globe and Mail editorial board piece on Friday morning, because I like it, and I think they're onto something. They write, even in this uneven and hard to predict terrain, Canada can retain climate ambitions, but it has to be pragmatic too. We have to be pragmatic too. They continue, in a word, oil. With the threat of devastating tariffs, Canada has a strong hand to play. Not quite a royal flush, but something like a full house. In this new world of a second and unbridled Trump presidency, they continue, it's time to muscle up. Be un-Canadian. No more sorries. I like that. I think there's something there. And a colleague shared these words from Leon Weitzlittler. I share them with you now. There are circumstances that must shatter you. And if you are not shattered, you have not understood your circumstances. In such circumstances, it is a failure for your heart not to break. And that it is pointless to put up a fight, for a fight will blind you to the opportunity that has been presented by your misfortune. Do you wish to persevere pridefully in the old life? Of course you do. The old life was a good life. but it is no longer available to you. It has been carried away irreversibly. So there is only one thing to be done. Transformation must be met with transformation. Where there was the old life, let there be a new life. Do not persevere. Dignify the shock. Sink as if to rise. And I will close with Kamala Harris's words. I think she said it well in her concession speech on Wednesday afternoon. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is to never, ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. We have power. You have the power, and don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible, because it has never been done before. We have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so, to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up your hands. It is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time for us to mobilize and stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. We can't build a land south of the border, but we can keep Canada as strong and free as possible. Jen used the word resistance earlier. And whenever I heard that word, I'm such a Star Trek Trekkie, I think of the phrase, resistance is futile. I've never believed that. But I do know that resistance, my apologies here, Jen, is insufficient. We have to be for more than we're against. So on your way out today, take note of the words stating what we're for, from the Unitarian principles and purposes to this congregation's mission statement, to this congregation's covenant and its agreement of respectful relations. We are for the burgeoning of love and justice in this world. We hold one another in care, and we reach out to strangers with respect and care, willing to listen to what everyone has to teach us. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. So may it be. Amen.
Will the ushers please start passing the baskets at this time? This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing together people to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond our community. Whether you're here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. We rely on one another to keep this congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give, please go to our website, and contact our finance manager to find out how you can make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Brent, I want to see that hat next time again as well. Also, for those of you in Worship Hall, you can use the QR code on the back of the order of service to make an online donation. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And now let us sing together once more. Please rise and body your spirit as we sing There Is More Love Somewhere, which you'll find as number 95 in our gray hymnal. The words will also be up on the screen.
Please be seated. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that coffee hour will start right out there in just a couple minutes. Leafy greens, courtesy of the good folks of Ajaski, are available to any who would like some from the room just adjacent. You can smell your way there. It's oxygen-rich environment. And in that same room are food and household items from our grocery support program. And Samsu Mia will, and his family and staff will be providing lunch to anyone who would like some as well. After our service, there will be a discussion on what I talked about in the lounge, and I'll be there soon after I get a little lunch. If you are new, look into my prop here, or simply feel like you could use a really good conversation today, please pick up a green mug as you enter Fellowship Hall. That will let folks who are also looking for a good conversation know to talk to you. And a reminder of something Catherine Pope said earlier, it would really help folks transform this space into being ready for our fall fair next Saturday if you could take the hymnals near you as you leave here and bring them to the office just out to the right. Did you hear that? Walkers can hold piles of books. Never underestimate anyone here. Thank you, Judy. And now, as we prepare to extinguish our chalice, may these words from my friend and colleague Suzelle Lynch be our guide. Mothers, lovers, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons and daughters, weavers of tales and sellers of salt, singers in the mystery and swimmers in truth's own sea. We are the ones placed here to offer blessings. We are the ones longed for in a world made fair. May we go in peace, knowing that we must work to love the world. May we go in peace, knowing that our work has just begun. The chalice flame is extinguished, but we all hold parts of it in our heart. Jen, will you lead us in singing once more our closing hymn, Spirit of Life? You'll find it in your hymnal, a gray hymnal of 123. We'll sing it through first in English and then en français. You may be seated, just for a little bit. As we return to the needed work, the joyful work of helping the world come alive in love, let we do so with understanding in our hearts, with courage in our hands, and peace in our steps. Go in peace, my friends. Go making peace everywhere you go. Amen.